Hello, I'm the Dark Master, and welcome back to my LEGO reviews. In today's video, we shall be reviewing set number 71753, Fire Dragon Attack, from the Ninjago Legacy line. It comes with 563 pieces and 4 minifigures. As always, we shall start there. From left to right, there is Golden Legacy Nia, Legacy Kai, Legacy Zayn, and Legacy Whiplash. Let us start with the star of the set, Golden Legacy Nia. Starting with her hair, she has a unique ponytail piece with intricate black hair and cyan bandana. It's a really cool mold that I hope gets used more in new colors. Going down from there, we see she has a double-sided face. One is a determined smile with a beauty mark. The second face is a larger smile. While not a new face, it's a good print and not as overused as Kai's. Plus, it's just more interesting. Going down from there, we see she has a bandana molded in cyan, which is a nice color, if not being a new piece. Going down further, we see she wears the old ninja armor with shoulder paladins that can hold a pair of golden katanas. It's cool, but nothing new. For her torso, the print is excellent, with asymmetrical wave prints on her golden outer coat with cyan belts and an insignia of water. It's beautiful. Going to the back, after removing the armor she wears, we see she has a larger symbol of water in cyan over a belt with wave patterns. It's amazing and such a shame we cannot see it normally. Her arms and hands are molded in gold. Down to her legs, we has them in molded in gold, with excellent copper-colored belt and other small printed details. For weaponry, she wields a pair of golden katanas. They're perfectly utilitarian, but nothing new. Overall, this is an excellent figure, and while it's meant to be a statue, you can still play with it as a regular figure. Unfortunately, the other ninja are not as spectacularly original in their makeup. Legacy Kai is perhaps the most common ninja variant of all of Ninjago. Starting with the Legacy hood, molded in red and maroon, it is fine but nothing new. Removing it, we see he has the standard Kai face seen since the Lego Ninjago movie. One side is a determined frown, the other is a nervous smile. Again, nothing new or special. Going down from there, we see that shuriken half armor that covers his left shoulder. It's fine, molded in gold, but nothing special. It can hold a singular silver katana. Going down to his torso, it has a decent golden dragon print, but its red robes are nothing new. Going to the back, upon removing his armor, we see more of the dragon print as well as a logo, but again, it's bland and nothing new. His arms are red and his hands are black, which is again nothing new. His leg print is fine with all the little details in the belt, but again, it's not all that special as we've seen it multiple times before. For weaponry, Kai primarily wields the Dragon Sword of Fire with all of its amazing molded glory. It's pretty good. He also has a silver katana as a backup weapon, which is far more utilitarian but perfectly fine. As is this figure. It's not objectively bad, but it's nothing that stands out, and we've seen it so many times that it's just there. Now let's go to Zayn. Legacy Zayn, much like Kai, is far from new, starting with the Legacy hood molded in white and light gray. Fine, but nothing new. Removing the hood, we see he has the silver head with an angered look upon him. It's a fine expression, but he has no alternative face, instead having an access port for a wire to be plugged into, which is nothing new, and the fact that it lacks an alternative face is kind of disappointing, but they're still decent prints. Going down, we see he has the same half armor with Kai, that being the shuriken armor, which can hold a silver katana. Nothing special, but serviceable. The torso print has white rows with large black outlines and nice dragon printing, and a light blue underrobe. Perfectly fine, but nothing new. Switching to the back and removing the armor, we see his back has the ice logo and dragon printing. It's nothing new, and honestly, little is lost when the armor covers it up. Going to the legs, he has a lot of little belt and tape details which aren't new but are appreciated. For weaponry, Zayn wields a pair of golden shurikens. They're decent pieces, but nowhere near as iconic as the Dragon Sword of Fire. He also has a silver katana as a backup weapon, which is again pretty utilitarian. Overall, Zayn is a cool figure, but like Kai is nothing even marginally unique. The only slight edge is that he's not quite as common. Now, let us go to the villain of the set, Whiplash. Whiplash is a Skulkin general that was in a previous Legacy wave, albeit in a set too large and expensive even for me to justify buying. Plus, it was just pieces from the other Legacy Skulkins all rearranged that you can see in a previous video. This new one has a far more distinctive look. Starting with the top, he wears a bamboo hat that has also been used by Wu. It is distinctive compared to the other Skulkin. Removing that, we see he has the redesigned skull headpiece, also seen in the Forsaken Warriors and the other Skulkin from the Legacy. It's cool and more sleek slash less oversized than the OG Skulkin. He has a distinctive print with eyebrows, a scar, a missing tooth, and a slight grimace, with other subtle details that were not seen previously. It's honestly a nice touch that does make him stand out. For armor, he has these black pointed shoulders that are sleek and minuscule. Going down to his torso, we see he has a slightly flatter front with prominent battle damage. The back lacks printing but has far more evident vertebrae. Going down to his pelvis, we see he has some blue robes and belts with the Skulkin logo on them. His arms and legs are standard skeleton fare, and as I've said before, the old Skulkin feet were larger and gave better balance compared to the new skeleton feetsies. For weaponry, he wields a silver dark blade, large and in charge. Overall, he's a great figure, the second best of the set, and an excellent addition to any skeleton army. Now let us cover the pieces slash stickers. The sticker sheet is small but very meaningful, as the 6 stickers illustrated here do add quite a bit of texture to the build. The flag stickers are a little less so, but especially the scale stickers that really make it look far more intricate and more alive, in all honesty. I mean, if you don't like stickers like a lot of people do, you can just leave them off, but I do genuinely think it hurts the set, especially in this case. For the pieces, man, what a nice selection. While red is not my favorite color, I would be lying if I said that the sheer amount of red slopes and maroon pieces was just extraordinary. Just look at all those Nexo Knight shield pieces in maroon and Oh, those Keat orange pieces are similarly amazing. Just in terms of both quantity and quality, this set is definitely worth it. But what about what these pieces build? Is that interesting and good enough? Starting with what is obviously the most important build, there is this little stand. It's perfectly utilitarian, being mostly black with a pair of neat little teal studs. It's a nice touch, and all the ninja who are exclusive to each set have it. But I do have to say, one of the best prints of the entire series is here. It's this circular plate with a golden marking that looks like a lily, with the insignia celebrating 10 years of Ninjago. Even though this is highly specialized, I must admit, it's still just an amazing piece, and it's happy to get one. So, definitely worth getting it, even if you have to get it on Bricklink. But let us start the coverage of what you actually came here to learn about. The main attraction of the set, the fire dragon Flame. I would like to say that if you're expecting a one-to-one comparison, then you're a bit out of luck because I was never, even back when I first got into Ninjago, able to get the fire dragon. It was the one dragon I never really had. But all I will say is that the head is a far superior size. It doesn't look as outsized. Plus, the general build is just a massive improvement. Also, I did a previous review from a junior set that has the same dragon in it, or at least its own interpretation, and I'm not really going to hark on to that because that's a junior set. This is just such an unfair comparison to even make. So I won't dwell further on it, other than to say I think that both heads are pretty good, and you could arguably say the red one is better. Starting with the head, Flame has a two-piece plastic head that displays intricately patterned black scales set upon a maroon mold. The molding is exquisite, with chin feathery growths being of the classic extraction. The inside of the lower jaw has a pair of studs that can attach anything one wants, even a flame. Overall, the head is an excellent reimagining of the classic head, being far more appropriately sized for the build. Going on from there, he has a neck segment with a maroon slope and a Keat orange inverted slope. It's perfectly good with a lot of articulation. The second segment of the neck is larger with ratchet joints instead of a ball joint, thus mildly limiting the articulation but providing greater strength. On the bottom are a pair of Keat orange slopes, while on the sides and top are maroon slope pieces. You might see this pair of clips, and I'll explain. Well, that being a seat, removing it is a little separate build that I'll talk about briefly. It's very small with triangular slopes, mostly brown, like leather, attached to a golden clip piece. We see a golden Nexo Force arm with a nice flag print. It can be angled up and down and motioned side to side. It can be left off if one so desires a more natural dragon, but I have to admit, I actually enjoy this little seat. Going to the body, unlike normally, I will be starting on the bottom. That's because there's just a lot more there to talk about. At the shoulders, we see some nice Keat orange layered pieces that are reminiscent of scales. He has these really thick shoulder girdle and just a massive Keat orange pecs. I mean, look at this guy. He looks like a Chad. Then again, that does make sense because a lot of flying animals have to have really strong pectoral muscles so they can beat their wings. Speaking of his wings, are these massive builds. The upper arm has these sticker pieces that, again, I've talked about previously, and has a ratchet joint that can be put forward or backwards. Aside from that, we go to the upper arm, and there are these really long, ungainly things, but I'll get to that later. It has a really long, slow piece with another sticker of black scales. Perhaps most beautiful is the cloth wing piece that have this beautiful pattern of flaming wings on a charred, bony skeleton of sorts. At the end of his wings are these little hands that can be articulated on a ball joint. It has exoforms, arms that serve as a pair of articulated fingers. The bottom of the wings are really poorly covered, however, though considering that you're not really supposed to view them from that position, it's understandable. Now, this is a feature that is something that is grossly understated, but this dragon can be both bipedal and quadrupedal. And honestly, I've posed it bipedal for the most part of this video because it's just easier to take pictures in that way. And also, with him being quadrupedal, he just looks so ungainly and like he's about to collapse under his own weight. Plus, in display takes up way more room if you do that. Anyway, back to the body, he has literal metal ingots for a six pack and has a nice usage of plates to create ridges on the back. The sole red plate is weird though. Like, seriously, you couldn't just make that maroon? Going to the legs, they are extremely bulky, with only one point of articulation, which is a shame as a lot of the previous dragons I've reviewed so far had at least two. Though I think they did that just so that the dragon could be bipedal. Even though it lacks articulation, I still think these legs look really good. They appear really bulky and animalistic. And they have these very large feet with three articulable toes made out of exoforms arms. Overall, perfectly good legs, nothing special, but they serve their purpose. Now let's go on to the dragon's tail. Oh, and the lower back is utterly forgettable. The first two segments are square with black cheese slopes that have extraordinary articulation. The next three segments are these 2x1 pieces that are much smaller with an inverted slope, key to orange pieces. The final segment has these two really large key to orange blades. It's a really good ending to the tail, and overall, while this tail is perhaps not the most iconic, it has a lot of articulation. So, what are my final thoughts? Well, Nia and Whiplash are a pair of great figures, and the other pair are just average. The dragon is amazing, but the wings are heavily flawed, especially when quadrupedal. I would highly recommend this set as it is a great reimagining of the classic dragon, and even with its flaws, it's still a massive, massive upgrade to the OG one. I'm the Dark Master, and join me next time on my Lego reviews. Have a wonderful day.